Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my latest pleasure. A game about cutting apart what was once the workhorse of humanity across the stars. Nowadays they have the big fancy gate system. So today, because old mate is busy across the road, hammering away and making lots of noise, no rule, and I'm probably suffering from sleep deprivation, no rule the waves 2 video today. Oop, that's not meant to happen. Instead you guys get to listen to me ramble as I cut apart some starships. Slight graphical error. They've just released a new patch for this game, so I'm interested to see what some of the changes they've made. They've also released a new video for brand new cutters. Which way do I want to cut this? This way seems good. Oops. Oh, okay. That all seems to have worked out. Now some of you have probably watched me...
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Probably some of you have watched me playing this and cutting things, and today I don't have anything particular in mind, but today we are just going to do a little examination on one of these industrial mackerels. Oops. If I can ever... There we go. Off you go. So first things first, I think one of the better changes they've made is that you can now click for your scanner mode using mouse buttons. A lot more precise than trying to click on the old scroll wheel, at least in my case. Looks like we've got a lot of loose items in the cabin. Power cell is in a good place. So we'll rip off some of these antennas. Now depending on the type of mackerel, so if you're using the early game mackerels, you can take these engines off with a simple cut. However, if we look in the scanner, we can see that these ones are strapped in from the inside. I can figure out which mode. There we go. So those two little yellow boxes, that's what we have to hit to get those thruster blocks off. So we're not going to get towards those until we're already well inside the actual ship.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
There we go. So that's all the easy credits taken off.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
You do usually want to take off at least a little bit of those outer supports,
Pressure levels dropping.
just to make moving panels off a little bit easier as you're cutting in from the inside. But you could also, you know,
pressure levels
not bother and just go in and do the whole thing. Oh, dusty here. Oh, the air regulator is working.
Air pressure level decreasing.
That's the entire ship flushed except for the airlock, which we'll have to be careful of. The worst precision cut ever. So to take off the floors, and the roof actually, we can cut these yellow bits here. I'm not entirely sure if this is accurate, but that's what's in the game, so that's how we do it. And that should just pop right off. Should pop off. Is there anything else holding it? So try booping it. Okay, so that is still stuck. Get this stuff out of the way. There seems to be a way that you can push those things away, but I haven't quite figured that one out yet. So we're just going to take the floors out. And if you have played this game for anything longer than 5 minutes, you'll already know how to do all this. Good. Now I need to check, make sure there's nothing... It's free mode, we can use up the tethers. Normally you are able to push those just with the grapple gun itself. I'm just going to get rid of the second floor panel.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Because I can see this screwing me over later on. Out of the way, thank you. But I do love the way this game has modelled ships. It's beautiful. It's like filleting it's like watching a chef fillet a fish sometimes. Only you get to be the chef. Okay. Ooh, that is one whole section. No wonder that was having trouble. You better take that off. I see what it was. I haven't had that one happen before. That is a new one. These games, they teach you they always teach you something new sometimes. Well, I need to be down a little bit. There we go.
Valuable object processed.
So despite what the trailers say, I always prefer to tether every individual opponent that's going to be tethered individually. The game does show a lot of trailers where they tether things together to try and pull them, hoist them all into the processors as one long chain. However, I've found that tethers just don't last long enough, particularly when you start dealing with heavy objects like plates. You are better off just
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits
grabbing one and just tethering it straight into the processor. Oops. Oh, call that.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Just getting rid of some of these loose objects so I don't have to worry about them later on.
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Isn't that just a lovely little noise that they've made for the grapple gun? So if with the recent upgrade, if we stick over here, you can hear that. That is a power supply sound. And if we go back here, there should be a fuel sound. That's a reactor noise. Not entirely sure that's what we're after, but you get the idea. You can actually, if you get the right upgrades, you can actually start hearing through the walls. That's a pretty cool ability, no? And we'll just get the big item out of the way.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
Yep, getting the old reactor done quick and early is a good way to make sure you get some profit out of every shift. Now I imagine there's a few classic elite strats about blowing off the cargo hatches, however I'm not familiar with them. So for today we're just going to do
Salvage
the old
deposit
basic
accepted. Credits transferred.
pull off and dump it to the lot. Alright, and where are we? Should I take the roof off? Let's take the roof off. Get the old stinger out, slice through that one. Now the way they've designed these is actually quite simple and quite beautiful in its simplicity, I should say. I don't know if it would be an effective design if it were realistic, but it does abstract a lot of the process very well. And today I'm not going to do anything fancy. I could take apart a gecko, but that takes about an hour and I can't ramble on. Well, I say I can't ramble on that long, but it would be the case of I would probably have to get a friend to talk to, and you would be listening to Jimmy's Lonely Hearts Hour. I believe it would want this in the furnace. Uh-oh.
Deposit accepted.
Okay, that worked out. The reason I crawl is because three-dimensional space, I see a lot of people getting lost. The way you crawl is simply Z and X, and while you're hanging onto a wall, just keep in mind that you can shift your perspective using your directional keys. So A doesn't work when I'm against the wall like this, but you get the idea. Next, we will take care of this thruster section. I see a lot of people who don't quite know how to handle this one. So if we stop and take a look, we see two clamps in the back there. So we're going to have to deal with those first. Let's go external. Take out our stinger head for extra precision. Seen some people who love using the skill saw, or the they call it the split saw. But I can say that the stinger definitely has its place with some of these jobs. We'll just get that plate off. It's not particularly valuable, so it goes straight in the processor. It's a pretty light object too.
Valuable object processed. Credits deposited.
Oops. And what do we want here? I have to double check this real quick. So if we want to avoid any chance of this happening, if we look through, I'm mostly operating off memory. But if you're a first timer, you definitely want to know where a lot of that stuff is. Just be aware though that with the early upgrades of the scanner, you won't be able to tell where the power cell is. I believe it's not until you unlock systems mode that the power cell actually becomes visible. Let's just check that, shall we? So we're in structural objects. Yep, so we can see it in objects. That's it over there. And there we go. Electrical. That little green thing there, that is a power cell. A lot of the early work orders will specifically ask you to look for that. Of course, they won't tell you where it is, because, you know, that would be entirely too sensible. So you will find yourself trying to cut through will find yourself trying to cut through panels, making sure you get that. The thing I can tell you is that the coolant tanks are pretty much always at the front. The fuel tanks are either down here or they're up there. And the engines are either down there or up there on these mackerel 2s. On the mackerel 1, the first ones that they give you, the engines can be cut with a external cut. And indeed these thrusters can actually be ripped straight out after ripping out the base plate.
Salvage secured. Credits
Now I've
deposited.
never seen the fuel lines on these actually rupture from pulling the thruster block out, however, just to be safe. Because to learn how to break things to learn how to do things the wrong way, sometimes you have to learn how to do them the right way first. And since old mate is hammering across the road quite loudly, today we will be doing this. As long as old mate doesn't hit the water pipe for the third time since he's been working out there, we should be alright. Oops. Oops. Good thing that didn't explode. If you're wondering about the music, I have no idea what it is. One thing I would love if the developers would let you choose your own playlist and they could put it into the game itself. I would love some blues Sarcano, but that's just me. Maybe that's just, you know, the old Rebel Galaxy talking.
Material deposited.
Having hands is useful. Let's get to that fuel valve real quick. With a fuel valve this short, it shouldn't be much of a muchness. It's when it gets longer. I haven't actually found any on the geckos yet. I have to look for that together. Maybe that's something I can do when I get a second opinion on board. But no real plans for today. We are just going to take a look at some of the new features that they've added in the latest patch. I haven't checked out the tutorials yet, but I always found them
Accepted. Credits transferred.
slightly underwhelming. So now that we have the fuel tanks out, we're going to continue with our thruster operation here. And that should be the thruster ejected. Might just need a bit of a push, so we'll just push it out the back. Off you go. Now the thruster is, despite its size, is quite light. Even with the level 1 grapple, you should be able to push it quite easily. Indeed, with the Mackerel Mark 1s, all you have to do to remove these things is just tear out the base plate, grapple the thruster, pull it out, and then you can just grab it, and we'll just shoot it there. That's an easy half mil in the bank. I believe it's half mil. Something like that. Next we'll take care of these engines. Jimmy, the worst precision cutter in the galaxy, showing you how to become the solar system's best chop chop. There you go, so that's coming out. You can help us along a little bit. Just watch out if you've had any sort of internal explosions or anything like that, because that could shift where the actual boat has ended up in its orientation. We'll just get out of the way, because those things can actually move fast enough to kill you on tethers. go, another 200 grand in the bank if you are playing career mode. And even bitchy computer lady is sounding happier with us. Always good to keep our Link's corporate overlord happy. Yep, and just like that, she's loose. Give it a bit of a push. Just a gentle push, doesn't take much. And down she goes. You can try pushing those with the level 1 grapple, but I've never found it to be particularly effective.
Salvage secured. Account credit applied.
So now with the engines are out of the way, what we're going to do is we are going to cut some panels loose. And for that, we'll take out our skill saw. And you used to be able to just cut the supports, but I see that they may have changed some things in the patch. Yes, this is how you'll get your nanomaterials, because all of these outside panels are made out of nanocarbon, and all these inside ones are made out of aluminium for some reason. So they've double-holed it for safety. We'll just cut through this. Just watch out, because in the early game, your Stinger head isn't going to have enough range to do this. You'll have to be crawling around in these little crawl spaces. Clearly not developed for mankind. And just don't hit the coolant tank. Thank you. Alright, that should be the whole side of the ship swimming free. We're just going to go back external again. If I can get under this ledge. Oops. So if they were showing you a trailer, they would be showing all of these things grappled together. It looks spectacular, but I've never had it work out quite like it does in the trailers.
Processing valuable object. Credits awarded.
Here you go, a couple of about 5 tons worth of nanocarbons. Taken care of just like that. So once they get past the yellow, they're in the mild suction section. Once it's in the red part, it will just get sloped straight up. Just watch yourself, because you can get sucked into these things too. It'll even beep a warning at you. Don't ask how I know that. I found out. Jimmy finds these things so you don't have to. Now, let's get this other side out of the way, and then we'll start looking at that cockpit, shall we? Oh no! Perhaps we should cut off the entire rear end of the ship. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it, how about that? So we'll just align ourselves. There we go. Oops, it deletes the whole thing now. Alright. So we're just gonna, well, I remember, did I cut? I see they've tried to make the Stinger head a lot more viable than it was. It used to be that you were able to just cut solely through the supports. However, I think they've done away with that somehow. we're just going to cut this airlock loose. So in the first part of the game you won't actually be able to cut through these nanocarbon panels, these bits here. You will however be able to cut through all the aluminium pieces on the ship. We're just going to rip off some door handles here. If you don't want a door to open or close again, rip off a door handle and that'll disable it. Probably, hopefully. Just watch out on geckos. Geckos get a lot more sophisticated. Just push that outside real quick. While we have almost entirely cut through this. Oh well. So let's just get it close to the wall. Just watch out because the skill saw will give you a little push if you don't respect it. You can counteract the push by either holding down your brakes, that's still attached somehow. Don't like that. Is that free now? Just be careful doing that because that can... Oh, you little shit. Alright. Oops. My bad, that was the wrong button. That's my pinky going numb. No, that's not what we want. There we go. Yes, come to Jimmy when you want some precision cuts. Now I'm still not entirely sure how to actually get rid of these bloody airlocks. I have mentioned before that the traditional method is simply to put air inside them and then hold them so that they blast their contents straight out into the processor. However, today I believe we will be, if we can do that, taking out this whole panel. Well, does mean we should be able to reach back on over there, get this last side bit off, and we'll see if this means that we'll be able to remove the airlock cleanly. Now watch out because the stinger will, well, the skill saw will cut straight through one of these coolant tanks. The stinger does a pretty quick job itself. And keep in mind, the projectile, the projectile. The laser doesn't come from the crosshairs, it comes from the beam itself, so you will have to try and predict the path it's going to take as it goes through. Can I actually? No, okay. So we're going to just pull some of these out, get them out of the way. Oh, there comes the old airlock. Excellent. I love the easy ones. And then this should just come out freely as well. Good.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Now, Jimmy, you may be asking, why is Lynx Corporation so insistent on getting rid of these particular ships? Well, first of all, these ships are pretty old. And second of all, according to the game lore that I've been able to dig out so far,
Salvage secured. Credits deposited.
Lynx, which basically owns everything, the corporates won. We're officially in the Robocop timeline. Lynx, that runs everything, developed a much better technology called the Braille network, which you can see that station just behind my little headquarters there, way off in space. And of course, these ships are meant to slowboat around the place, so they don't respond too well to the old gate system. So Lynx ended up picking up thousands of things like mackerels and geckos pretty much on the cheap. And now, because it's a dirty job, and apparently it requires some actual manual strength, which is why they bring they have a word for Earthers. They call them ones. Anyone that's been in space too long is a zero.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
And they like ones because we're useful as manual labor. But not for much else, according to a lot of zeros, so... You know, space racism is real. Oops. What I need to do is just back up a little bit. Up. Up. Brake. See if we can cut through this corner here. That coming through? Ooh, not that last little piece. Let's see if we can... Okay, so that's that loose. Well, for bonus points, we're going to go for... trying to get the whole aluminium assembly off. Now, whoop! Moderately more spectacular than I hoped. But successful.
Valuable object. Credits awarded.
There we go. So you can see, now that we've got it open like this, you can actually see the internal construction and how sort of simply ingenious it is. And wait until I show you guys how to take the tails off these things. It's like a marine organism. Oop, I can't take that handle out. Well, you'll just have to imagine the handle being out. The only thing I will say is that they have a lot of panels, and if you want the extra cash you can cut the panels out. It's not really worth it. But if you do wish to, just simply repeat the procedure I used to get in behind, and that will serve you perfectly well. This item in the middle as well is also a furnace object, so we will just take out what we need from there. Uh-oh. Can I cut it from this direction, and will it go all the way through? Goes through most of it. Oh, yep, that's this free. This is now becoming exceptionally light. Back here, you scoundrel. And you off to the processor. So that wasn't really worth it. So if I could do that all over again, I would simply cut. Ooh, can I not cut this? Interesting. Okay. Well, I would simply cut here then. Cut here then, and then shoot the whole thing.
Object processed. Credits deposited.
Hello, there we go. Shoot the whole thing into the furnace. Apparently it's still attached somehow. Alright. So that side's free and clear. What is happening on this side? Okay, well, if that's the problem, we can certainly solve that. Amazing that little scrap of aluminium is able to hold the entire weight. Ooh. Alright. Excellent. So that should be clear. Does that look clear to you? It looks clear to me. Maybe this was the problem. Oh no, that is good to go. Away with thee. Now it should like that, even though there's not as much metal on there as there normally is. recycle while we're at it.
Material deposited.
Okay, yep, it like that. Now, the fun and joy, the cockpit section, with a million finicky computers, seats, and storage lockers trying to fit through a very small hole. This took me out for a long time. Let me see if I can remember how to do this. And let's see if anything explodes while I'm cutting this around. Well, nothing's blown up yet, so we must be doing something right.
Object accepted for processing. Credits deposited.
Oops, there are the doors. I was hoping to cut these out. Maybe they're attached by the storage lockers. Yep, that's it.
Raw material processed. Credits deposited.
Alrighty, begin pulling all this stuff out. Oops. Give me that. Give me that. There we go.
Material deposited.
Oops, what is that? That's 3/4 of a storage bin. That's apparently enough of a storage bin that the barge wants it, so the barge will have. I believe
Salvage secured.
Boss Lady is about to
Account
get
credit
angry at us
applied.
because a panel is about to float in down there, but there we go. Oh, easy. Don't need to ruin this by smacking myself in the face with a piece of metal. You can crack the helmet open and kill yourself. It's happened. Sometimes in parts where I don't think anything actually smacked me, but you know, that's what betas are for. Now I am actually planning to give this game a little
Salvage
rest,
secured. Credits
but
deposited.
there's so much noise today that I thought I'll just put together a video of just me tearing apart one of these ships, showing you
Salvage deposit accepted.
all the little nooks
Credits
and crannies. Oops. And even if there's no advanced techniques, well, you'll at least know what to look out
Salvage
for.
secured. Account
After all,
credit
you've got to
applied.
learn how to do things the right way before you can learn how to do them the wrong way, but right. or correctly the wrong way. Yeah, something like that. Basically, before you start blasting the loose contents out for decompression again, you can learn how to do stuff in a way that doesn't jeopardize your OH&S standards too greatly. Although this is a work environment where the law strictly states that Lynx will not be doing any form of drugs or alcohol testing.
Salvage deposit accepted. Credits transferred.
Naturally, this being space, of course, space drugs and space alcohol are incredibly hard to actually get a hold of. Oops. Okay, not what I was expecting to grab. Let's take a look in there and see what we can find. Look, we have a data drive. And it's gone. I love that they've put the push button and the pickup button on the same button. Just keep in mind that you can actually pick up items from the interior. There weren't any on this one, but there are normally health kits. Sometimes you'll be lucky and there'll be an oxygen bar for you and fuel. Just keep in mind that before you start going for the skill saw, it's a good idea to pick most of those up because they will blow up if they're left on the old racks. I think this ship done. Yes. So we're just going to cut away the old aluminium plating, if I can. Will the game let me cut through the supports? No, it will not. Very well. Well, the amount of aluminium on it is minuscule, so we might just send the whole thing.
Deposit accepted.
Some little lights. And that's the last of this ship gone.
Deposit not accepted.
Well, I don't know what you want done with glass anyway. And that's this ship taken care of, and one ship down. Thank you very much for watching. Indeed, if you still are. And I will see you all in the next shift, which probably won't be soon. I'm waiting for a little bit more content for this game, and then I'll probably play the hell out of it. But for now, you've got 2 major ship chassis, and that's it. Ciao.